Here it is. This is the Manfrotto 460 gimbal. Comes in a really sturdy foam box, but more importantly, let's have a look at what's inside. All right, so let's get this thing set up. All the axes have got individual locks, which is really good. This is the roll axis. We're going to open it and we'll lock it back in place again. And that will help us when we not only get the camera on, but also when we're balancing. Now here we've got the tilt axis. Again, drop that back. We need to keep this loose at the moment because that's how we're going to balance it later. The important thing to remember when you are setting up a gimbal is you need to balance it with the camera on in the configuration that you're using it. And for some cameras and some lenses, that even means making sure you set the lens at the right focal length. Now this particular lens doesn't have an extending barrel, but even a small movement in the extension can affect the balance. But the lens cap, that's going to affect the balance too. And we also grab our cable. Now some cameras can be controlled through the gimbal handle with a very simple cable, so we're going to use that today as well. Let's unlock the tilt axis, and what's going to happen, it's going to fall forward. Very simply, we need to find where the centre of gravity is on this. And there we go. The idea is we want the camera to stay in any position without the motors being on, so we'll unlock this one. So we need to find out its centre of gravity there from this direction. When you are looking to buy one of the two gimbals, either the Manfrotto 220 or the 460, what's important to consider is the overall weight of the camera that you're going to put on it. So if your camera kit weighs 2.1 kilos and you put it on the 220, you're almost at the limit of what it can cope with. Now it will cope with it absolutely fine, but if you change your lens in the future or maybe add an attachment to the top of the gimbal or something like that, you might find it takes that over the limit. So now you see what's happening. We can put the camera in any position along these axes and hopefully it's pretty much going to stay there. So I'm happy that that's pretty much balanced, because then what we'll do next is unlock the roll axis. There you go. Right, so it's tipped. So again, what we need to do, we need to just put more weight to the other side and that will stay pretty much in any position. Now we'll put it in. We'll unlock the pan axis here. Now it's going to spin. You can see it's already starting to turn around. So if I hold the gimbal forward, it's spinning to the right. So you just need to slide it a little bit back a bit. We see it's not spinning, so I'm tilting the whole thing forward and it's not really going anywhere. So that's pretty good balance, I'd say. And here's your control screen. Now I won't go through every control because it'll take forever. But basically it's touch screen. You can choose the different modes. This is how you shoot, so it's like all axes are locked. This is the pan mode, and this wheel on the side here can be used for different things. It can be used to rotate the gimbal, it can be used for focus. So here we go, here's the app. Now down the bottom you can see here we've got a joystick which will control the gimbal, do pretty much what we want. Now it's so configurable, you can spend hours and hours and hours playing with it. You don't have to use the mobile app. So on the touch screen here, you can see by swiping different directions, you have different modes. We've got inception mode, time lapse, selfie, portrait, and it will flip the camera the other way. We've got the different pan modes again. You can even change the camera's settings. And what you see is because we've kind of perfectly balanced it, wherever I move this now, it's going to keep the camera as level as possible. So I would say that these are the sort of basic modes that I would use. You've got the normal upright mode, which you would use for sort of maybe doing an interview or a walking shot. You go to what's known as sort of flashlight mode, like a torch. So you could go in and out, which is quite nice. And then you can move it right back down to underslung mode, which is really good if you were tracking someone's feet or something like that. If you're going to buy bags for your bike, get one that's not the same colour as the Deliveroo bike, because I thought she was delivering pizza. Right. One of the really nice things about shooting with a gimbal is you can get really creative about how you present your shots. And one of the shots that a lot of people like to do, me in particular, is a reveal shot. So you kind of go behind something and then you slowly reveal where you're going to go. So I'm going to start behind the wall, and it's going to gradually tilt the camera outwards. And you can see that the stairs are revealed and someone could be walking down the stairs. I'm really pleased with how this performed. It took anything I threw at it. My camera was absolutely perfect on this. It didn't falter, it righted itself all the time, the motors didn't struggle at all, and there's loads of room to manoeuvre, there's loads of space for them to go. So I'll also put a heavier rig on. And if you do want help building the perfect kit, head on down to CVP at Newman House. They've got a whole room dedicated to motion, and they will make sure you get what you want.